Japan's ground forces are entering a structural transformation that reflects how seriously Tokyo now views the security environment surrounding the archipelago. Over the past 5 years, the strategic discourse inside Japan has increasingly shifted toward rapid mobility, dispersed defense, and the ability to reinforce vulnerable islands in the southwest. As tensions around the East China Sea persist and incursions near the Senkaku Islands become more frequent, the public has grown more aware of the gaps in Japan's ability to move troops and firepower quickly across long distances. This shift in public perception aligns closely with the major procurement programs now underway in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. Among these, the introduction of the Patria AMVXP, built under license in Japan, the expanded deployment of the Type 16 maneuver combat vehicle, and the continued role of the Type 10 main battle tank form the backbone of a new ground strategy grounded in speed, resilience, and geographic realism. Japan's geography makes the case for mobility more compelling than ever. The southwest island chain stretches for over 1,000 kilometers, with many islands having limited road networks and infrastructure. Deploying heavy tracked vehicles quickly to these locations has long been a challenge. Even with advanced air and naval lift capacity, reinforcing remote islands is time-consuming if forces depend only on heavy armor. The lessons drawn from recent conflicts, particularly the war in Ukraine, have further sharpened Tokyo's awareness of how mobility, rapid reaction, and distributed defensive presence can determine outcomes in contested environments. For Japanese planners, the central question is how to field a ground force capable of moving quickly, surviving modern threats such as drones, and providing credible deterrence even before reinforcements arrive. The Patria AMVXP is central to this emerging design. The first units delivered in 2025 mark the beginning of a long-term shift away from the older Type 96 8x8. The AMVXP provides far better armored protection, improved mine and improvised explosive device resistance, and a chassis optimized for modularity. It can carry a full infantry squad and integrate remote weapon stations with day-night sensors. Just as importantly, the vehicle is now being produced domestically under license by Japan's Steel Works. This industrial component resonates strongly with the Japanese public, who generally support national defense investments that strengthen the domestic industrial base rather than relying purely on imports. The ability to maintain, upgrade, and eventually evolve the vehicle within Japan itself is seen as a prudent long-term investment in self-reliance. Operationally, the AMVXP enhances the mobility of infantry formations responsible for defending coastal zones, ports, and key points across the island chain. Its wheeled configuration allows higher speeds on roads, lower maintenance burdens compared to tracked vehicles, and easier transport by the Kawasaki C-2 airlifter or by Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force landing ships. For the public, these attributes align with the broader narrative of defense without escalation. The AMVXP is not an offensive platform for overseas operations, but a means to reinforce islands quickly in a crisis. Complementing this platform is the Type 16 maneuver combat vehicle. Although introduced several years earlier, its prominence has grown as Japan reorients its ground doctrine toward mobility. Equipped with a 105mm gun, the Type 16 provides substantial firepower while remaining far lighter and faster than a traditional tank. Its top speed of nearly 100 kilometers per hour allows it to redeploy across long distances far more rapidly than any tracked armored vehicle. For the defense of Japan's Southwest Islands, where early response is crucial, the Type 16 acts as a fast-arriving firepower asset, able to position itself ahead of any larger force that may take hours or days to arrive. The Japanese public generally views the Type 16 as a practical and necessary adaptation to new threats. Media coverage often emphasizes that it is a defensive system suited for Japan's terrain, not a tool for projecting power abroad. Its ability to counter lightly armored or amphibious threats in the early hours of a crisis reinforces the perception that it fills a real capability gap. For many observers, the Type 16 symbolizes Japan's shift toward a more agile, flexible, and resilient ground posture. This mobility-driven structure does not replace the need for heavy armor. The Type 10 main battle tank remains the centerpiece of high-intensity ground combat capability. Light and compact by global standards, the Type 10 is optimized for Japan's narrow roads and mountainous terrain. In 2025, Japan placed additional orders for the Type 10, signaling that the platform will remain central to ground force deterrence for decades to come. The recent installation of anti-drone mesh protection on Type 10 and Type 90 turrets further illustrates Japan's adaptation to the battlefield realities revealed in Ukraine, where small unmanned systems have become one of the deadliest threats to armored units. These upgrades are seen by the Japanese public as both necessary and responsible, reflecting a military that learns from global conflicts while staying within the boundaries of defensive doctrine. All of these platforms fit into a broader modernization effort known as the Common Tactical Wheeled Vehicle Program, which includes reconnaissance vehicles, surveillance platforms, and specialized variants such as mobile mortar carriers. These vehicles, including the emerging Type 24 and Type 25 designs, aim to equip Japan with a unified wheeled family capable of covering reconnaissance, infantry mobility, and fire support roles with greater efficiency and interoperability. The program is still developing, but public interest has grown as media outlets highlight the importance of domestic research and development in strengthening national resilience. Across Japanese society, the trend toward supporting ground mobility has become more visible. While there remains a strong pacifist tradition and skepticism toward anything perceived as aggressive military expansion, the majority of the public distinguishes between offensive systems and defensive, mobility-focused platforms. Patria AMVXP Type 16 and the modernization of the Type 10 fall firmly into the latter category. They are not viewed as tools for power projection, but as reasonable measures to protect remote islands, secure key sea lanes, and reduce Japan's vulnerability to rapid regional contingencies. From a strategic vantage point, these changes help Japan create a multi-layered ground posture. The AMVXP provides squad mobility and armored transport for dispersed units. The Type 16 supplies high-speed direct firepower capable of reinforcing critical nodes. The Type 10 underpins scenarios that require heavier armored fighting capability. Together, they create a ground force that can move faster, survive longer, and respond more flexibly in a contested archipelago environment. For Japan, this is not merely modernization, but adaptation to a new reality in which the speed of response may determine the credibility of deterrence. Looking toward 2030, Japan's ground forces are likely to complete a broader transformation. A distributed network of mobile infantry, powerful but agile firepower platforms, and surveillance vehicles capable of maintaining awareness across the island chain. This evolution echoes public expectations that Japan should remain firmly within a defensive posture, while ensuring the military is equipped to respond decisively in any crisis affecting its territory. The introduction of platforms like the AMVXP and Type 16 is therefore more than a procurement decision. It is a signal of how Japan understands its changing security environment and a reflection of a society that, while committed to peace, recognizes the necessity of credible self-defense in an increasingly uncertain region.